How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to talk a little bit about CB radio and the importance I feel of an alternative communication system other than telephone, whether it be landline telephone, cellular telephone, or internet. If we were to have a huge natural disaster, whether it be an EMP, whatever, that would take out communication, radio is about the only alternative that we have. Whether it be CB radio or ham radio. Now hopefully most everybody has got backup power sources, generators. You don't need to have whole house generators, but something that would give you power if you needed to have it for a week, 2 weeks. CB radio, which is what I am going to talk about. I am not a ham radio operator. I don't have a license for it. That would be better than CB radio. You have a lot more freedom on ham. You can run more power legally. You can go to many more frequencies. But CB radio requires no license. The equipment, for the most part, is not real expensive. And it still gives you the ability to communicate out of your city or your neighborhood. You can get set up with CB radio set up for $150, or sky's the limit. Just like most any hobbies, you can put as much money as you want into it. But you could get yourself a decent setup for $150 to $175 that would allow you to effectively talk, 20-25 miles on, relatively flat terrain. But there is a thing called propagation. Okay, propagation, or what we call skip, has to do with atmospheric conditions. The atmospheric conditions being up in the ionosphere. Whenever you key your radio, your signal will go up into the ionosphere and it will skip. And it will skip wherever the atmosphere takes it, and somewhere it will come down. And you have the ability to talk essentially to other states or even other countries whenever the propagation or the skip conditions are right. But it's all dependent on Mother Nature. Right now, this morning, we have a little bit of skip coming in. I got it coming in out of Texas. See, I don't see the needle. Now this is on channel 28. Now you see how their signals will be there and they'll kind of fade away and they'll come back. That is the atmospheric conditions that causes that to happen. They're ever changing. You can be sitting talking to somebody. I'm in southeast Wyoming, and I can be talking to somebody in Florida, and it sounds like they're sitting in my driveway 1 minute, and literally 4 seconds later, they're gone. But you can also sit and actually carry on a conversation with people. Now that guy, I don't know, he didn't say where he was out of, but he's not a local. But you heard how clear he was. Okay? There's that potential. That's what I'm getting at. So this is a great way to receive information, transmit information, if something major was to happen. I'm talking, like nationwide or large, multiple states or something like that, a major disaster of some kind. There is quite a bit to this. I want you all to let me know if this interests you at all. I'm fairly knowledgeable when it comes to this stuff. I am not an end-all expert by no means, but you know, I just want to cover some basics today about CB radio. Number one, CB radio, the legal FCC limit for CB radio is 4 watts. Okay, whenever you key your microphone, you are not legally allowed to have any more than a 4 watt dead key or carrier. Okay, now I'm going to try something here. I haven't used this microphone in a while. Might be a little scratchy, but I'm going to show you. On this old Cobra 142, this old radio here is like a 1970s vintage CB radio. You can pick these things up off eBay for $70, $80. It plugs into your wall in your house. There are multitudes of CB radios out there. There are some out there that have, you know, proven over the years to be junk, and there's other ones that are very much sought after today. But I'm going to put my watt meter. This is something else that you all would need to get. A radio, you want to get yourself a good SWR watt meter. Okay, this lets you know what your radio is doing as far as power, and you can check your standing wave ratio, which is your SWR, which is an indicator as to how well your radio is matched up to your antenna. Antennas are adjustable for SWR. Do not ever buy, like for your vehicle, a mobile antenna that imitates a cellular telephone antenna. Don't believe anyone that tells you that those antennas work good, because they don't. They're absolute crap. Okay? And you can see right there, my dead key on this radio is right at 2.5 watts. I'm on the 20 watt scale. This is the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 watts. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this scale. So I key that down, you saw that was 2.5 watts. This radio is perfectly legal to run by FCC regulation, and it is a decent radio. Okay, different radios have got different characteristics, different capabilities for how much swing they have. Swing is whenever you talk into your radio. One. See how that needle swung up? AM, which is what CB is, it's AM radio, is amplitude modulated. So the stronger you speak into your microphone, the more power output you're going to get. So I'm swinging 2.5 watts and it's swinging up to 4 or 5 watts. That's fine. If I had a radio that keyed at 4 watts and swung to 15 watts, that's fine. Okay? FCC requirement is no more than 4 watts, dead key or carrier. So that's something you just want to be aware of. SWRs, I got SWR set. Guess I ought to put this back on here. Sorry about the squeak. SWR set. Whenever you want to check your SWRs, you have over here on the right hand side, you have your SWR calibration line right there in the middle. When you key this, you want to calibrate this needle on this far right hand side here where it says set. Okay, I'll move it to SWR. Now you see how this needle here is barely moving? That is what you want. The less this needle moves up, the better match you have with your radio to your antenna, and the less likely you are to burn up your radio. That is the whole thing with SWRs, is if you hook up a radio to an antenna and the SWRs are up in the red or over 3.1 to 1, At 3.1 to 1, you're losing 25% of your radio power, of its efficiency. And that power is actually being fed back into your radio finals, and over time it will burn up, destroy your radio. So the lower the SWR, the absolute best, that's what you want. And you tune your SWRs on an antenna, and this is how I remember it, is if your SWRs are better on a lower channel, because I can be on channel 1 and check it, and it will be, let's say, 1.2. Go to channel 40, it might be 1.4. Okay, so the higher I go in the frequency range, the worse the SWR starts to get. So I can adjust most antennas, you can adjust them, and if your SWR is better on your higher frequency than on your lower frequency, then your antenna needs to be longer. If your SWR is better on a lower frequency than on a higher frequency, your antenna needs to be a little shorter in order to get the SWR range the best you can get it. Ideally, 40 channel CB radio, you got channels 1 through 40, you want your lowest SWR you can achieve on channel 20, because it is called an SWR curve. As you go down in frequency, your SWRs will start to increase. As you come toward the middle, the SWRs will drop to about their lowest point, and as you go up the scale, the SWRs will start to climb again. It's called your SWR curve. But that's what you'd want. Ideally, you want to test or tune your antenna on channel 20 for CB and achieve the lowest SWR you can get. Let's see what we... I wish we could get somebody to say where they're at. Anyway, as we're talking here, maybe somebody will pipe in. You have different types of antennas for a base station. You have an omnidirectional and you have a beam. A beam antenna is an antenna that you can actually turn and aim where you want to talk and where you want to listen from. That is achieved through a rotor. Okay, this control box right here controls my beam antenna and allows me to point it in what direction I want to talk. This up here being due north, south, east, west, of course. My antenna is sitting out there right now pointing to the southeast. Essentially for me, it's pointing down toward Florida. Okay, I can turn this now. I'm going straight south, going across New Mexico, Arizona, into Southern California. You get the picture. An omnidirectional antenna, you receive and transmit essentially equally from any direction. The beauty of a beam antenna is if you have a lot of skip rolling, and whenever you have a lot of skip, you're going to hear a lot of distortion. It's just going to, what you hear right now, it can sound like that, but your receive will be up to 9 pounds or 9 S units of receive of just noise. And what that is a gazillion people trying to talk at one time. Okay, so if you find somewhere where you can talk, let's say it's out into California, you know there's propagation coming from California, you need to talk out that way, you can point your beam in that direction and it will help reject signal and noise from behind your antenna and concentrate your receive and your talk in the direction that your beam is pointing. It does not eliminate all noise from behind it, but it does have what they call rejection, and it does reject a percent of it. Omnidirectional antennas, like I say, they're just equally all the way around. I'll tell you, if you guys have any interest in this, let me know. I mean, I'll be happy to go over antenna multiplication factors you know, what I consider to be a decent antenna.
All right, stop sign. Take care, my friend. Keep her
And, you know, we'll go into it a little bit more. We can go into a little bit about amplifiers and power supplies and, you know, meters, whatever. There's all kinds of stuff. There's quite a bit, you know, to it. But the bottom line is you don't just want to go grab a couple things and try and get the cheapest antenna you can get and just throw it up in the air. Because if you don't do it right and don't get quality, somewhat quality stuff, you're not going to be able to talk, and you're going to be frustrated, and you're just not going to want to do it. But you don't have to dump a bunch of money to be able to talk decently on CB. So I'm going to end it right there, and I will put up right here at the end a picture of my beam antenna and of my omnidirectional antenna. The beam antenna is a Joe Gunn V 4-element, and the omnidirectional is an Antron 99. Antron 99 is a 18-foot fiberglass antenna. I have it to the top of the antenna is 52 feet, and my beam antenna is at the boom, which is the vertical part of the antenna, is roughly 23-24 foot off the ground. I don't want that antenna any higher than that, because where it is right now I can actually work on it from my peak of my roof. Otherwise, you start going higher, you got to start looking at towers, climbing towers and all that kind of stuff if you need to service it, and I ain't about that at all. Ain't gonna happen. But please let me know if you have neighbors that are into CB radio, or you guys have even contemplated the possibility of it, but you just really don't know where to start. You know, we can get a conversation going about it. So thanks for watching. You all take care, and we will catch you next time.